Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to talk about the forms, and the forms are simply containers which contain different types of inputs such as text fields, checkboxes, radio buttons, submit buttons, and so on. These forms are used in order to collect information from the user, and the collected information can then be used accordingly. So now it's time to add our form. So we're going to use the form tag, and as you can see nothing has been displayed because we need to fill in our form with our input field. But first of all, we need to talk about two important attributes in the form tag itself. The first one is the action attribute, and the action attribute specifies the location to which you want your data to be sent to. Now, in case you leave this location empty, the data are going to be submitted back to the same document address. So it's going to be submitted back to the same page. So the action attribute takes the location, the URL to which you want your data to be sent to. And you also have the method attribute. And the method attribute takes two values, get and post. Now we are interested in get. However, I need you to know the difference between the two of them. Now the difference between the get and the post method is that in the get method, the data are sent in the URL in here. And also the get method is limited to a certain number of characters. However, when using the post method, the data are sent in the body of the HTTP request, and you can send as many data as you want. And don't worry about any of these because in the upcoming videos we're going to cover all of these in details. However, for now, I'm interested in the fact that you know that the get method are going to send our data in the URL. So now let's get started. We're going to add our inputs. So first of all we have input, type, and then text. And as you can see, here's our input field. Now I'm going to add another input. Let's say first name and last name, okay? So here's our second input, but I'm going to use the line break. Okay, and another one so that I can have a greater space. Okay. Now I need the user to know that this is the first name and this is the last name. So I'm going to add a label. So let's add our label, and then first name, and let's add another label, last name. Okay. Now I need to add a submit button in order to submit my data. Input, type, submit. And I'm going to use VR as well. Okay, and now let's add a name, Adam, Jack, submit. And as you can see, nothing has been submitted. Why? Although we have said that the data are sent in the URL, but nothing has been added. Because in order to submit the data, you need to use the attribute name. And then type in here first name, and come in here name, last name. And now let's try one more time. Adam, Jack, and submit. And as you can see, now our values has been sent. First name equal Adam, last name equal Jack. So you need to specify the name attribute in here. In case you didn't specify the name, your value is not going to be sent. Did you notice that when you click over here, the input field has been styled into bold? Now we've added our label in here, and we need to specify clearly that this label belongs to this input field. So when you click on the label, the input field over here should be also styled in bold. So in order to do that, we are going to use the for attribute. Now, we've mentioned before that in order to differentiate between our elements, which are all of the same type, like input, we need to use the ID to differentiate between them. So we're going to add the ID in here, and then first name. And the for value in here takes the same value which is in the ID. So for first name. Now when we click over here, as you can see, the input field has been styled into bold. Now let's do the same thing for the last name. And then let's add our ID. And when I click in here, now the input field has also changed. Now you should note that in case the ID is not the same value which is in the for attribute, nothing is going to happen. When you click on the last name, this input field didn't change. So both the value in the for attribute and the value in the ID attribute should be the same. Now let's say that you need to change the text inside the button. So in order to do that, use the value attribute, and then you can say click here. And as you can see, the value has changed from submit to click here. So that's it for today's video, and in the upcoming video you're going to see many different types of input, but that's it for now, and see you guys in the next video.